And good Yud Tes. Before I begin, I just want to make a disclosure. The organizers asked me to speak in English. And since my English is basically a distant cousin of the English which you speak, so please bear with me and try to focus on the message and not that much on the grammar. So at least you should get the message clear. Even the grammar won't be 100% as you would like. There's a clock over here. There's a... Oh, okay. Can't see too much. You know, there was once a rabbi which stood up in his congregation and he would start talking, and he spoke from today till tomorrow. And he was talking and talking and talking, and he didn't stop. Finally, after a long time of talking, he said for his congregants, I am sorry, I apologize for talking so long. There was no clock in this room. So one of the congregants picked himself up and said, Rabbi, you're right, there's no clock, but there's a calendar on the wall. So I don't see that clock. I would appreciate if I had some kind of clock or a watch that...
Give him a watch, give him a watch.
There's no watch, and we could talk from today to tomorrow, that's fine.
No, we can't, because I have some reports to go.
I don't have anything important tonight. I only have learning tonight, so it's okay.
We gathered tonight. Tonight is Yud Tes Kislev, which Yud Tes Kislev basically has in it two things. One thing is, it's the yahrzeit of the Groise Maggid, of the Mezritch Maggid, Rabbeinu Dov Beer, Ben Reb Avrom, which in 1773 was installed like Tov Kif Lamed Gimel, and it also has the same day has in it. It's the day of the Yom HaShichrur, when the Alter Rebbe the Balatanya went out of prison 26 years later in 1799. Tuf Kif Nientes. It has two things in it. And as you probably a lot of you know, the Beis Rebbe brings it down that the Mezritch Maggid said for the Alter Rebbe way before he was nostalgic, and way before the whole, when he went into prison, he said for him, Yud Tes Kislev is in zer Yom Tov. That means it's both Yom Tov, because it's the Maggid's yahrzeit, and it's the Alter Rebbe's Yom HaShichrur. I want to delve in a little bit on what Toyres Abal Shem Tov and the Maggid Bechlal brought to our world, and what the Alter Rebbe gave add on to it. What was the Nekida of the Baal Shem Tov, the Mezritch Maggid, and what was the Alter Rebbe's Chedishim over here? Because you have to understand, the Alter Rebbe and the Baal Shem Tov did not bring down new things on the world. Matan Torah was only once, and it will only be once. That means it was then, it won't be again. So basically, wherever we have on this world is Gevein Shema Matan Torah. So basically, there's no Chedishim. So it is only a thing which the Baal Shem Tov, the Alter Rebbe, gave to, which whatever exists, he gave added on some light or something, which we're going to delve into it, what it is. But it was nothing new which he brought in. And the Alter Rebbe did not be mechadash a new Chassidus Chabad, which wasn't included in the Baal Shem Tov. As we know, also the Beis Rebbe brings it down that when the Alter Rebbe was imprisoned, the Mezritch Maggid and the Baal Shem Tov came to visit him. And the Alter Rebbe asked his Rebbe and the Baal Shem Tov, why? Why do I have to go through all this Yisirim? What did I do that I deserve it? And they answered him that there was a Kitrig Lamaila in Himmel, in Shemayim, that you are revealing Chassidus too much to the masses. That was a kitrik. So therefore, you got this punishment, so to speak. So the Alter Rebbe asked them, when I go out, should I stop this kind of conduct? I should stop saying Chassidus? And they answered him, no. Not only you shouldn't stop, you should go on and keep on going more and more. And that was the fact. Once the Alter Rebbe came out from prison, he was saying Chassidus, long Chassidus, Bahasbura. He explained everything. You look at the Svarim, which was before Tuf Kivni Tes, all the Chassidus were short Divrei Torah, Yachasit, means accordingly. But after Tuf Kivni Tes, the Mamorim and Lekita Torah and Torah are long Mamorim. Because after there was the normal Kitrik, that after in Himmel and Shemaim they decided that that's the right way how to go. And after the Hashem and the Maggid agreed with the Alter Rebbe that this is the way how we need to go, he started doing it much more than he did it beforehand. So basically, what did the Hashem bring down to our world? And what did the Alter Rebbe bring down to our world? There's a letter from the Rebbe Rashab, which was the grandfather of the late Rebbe, the late Lubavitcher Rebbe. He writes to his son, the Friediger Rebbe, the previous Rebbe, Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak. The Rebbe Rashab was then not in Lubavitch. He had to leave. And he writes a letter to the Friediger Rebbe, and he writes like this: I'm asking you to celebrate Yud Tes Kislev, which comes upon in a couple of days. And he gives a sentence like this: the day which or v'chayas nafshenu nitalonu, the light and the life of our lives was given to us. And it finishes the whole paragraph and says, who Torahs of Hashem Tov. And that's the Torahs of Hashem Tov. And I want to delve in a little bit in this Nekida, in this part, which the Rebbe Rashab writes, which explains basically the whole Nekida, which I want to delve into it. What the Hashem Tov came here, what did he do, what did he contribute to this world, and what the Alter Rebbe was moisel on it. He says the words Or v'chayas nafsheni. What is Or and what's Chayas? Or means light, Chayas means life. What is the difference between Or and between light and life? There's a couple of differences. Light is basically external thing. So makiv is the way they call it in Chassidus. It's a makiv, it's external thing. It doesn't penetrate in the person, in himself, in his organs. It is a person goes into a room which there is light, he enjoys it, he can see. When he leaves that room, basically, he goes into a dark room, no more light, it's dark again. When he's in the room, it's light. When he leaves, it will be dark again. Why? Because light is a makiv di gezach, an external thing. An external thing takes you where you are. Once you go away from that, you don't have it anymore. That's number one. Number two, light, who sees, who enjoys light? The eyes. Because the eyes are the vessel, the kli of seeing. The hand does not have any geschmack in light. The feet does not have any enjoyment or geschmack in light, at least not a direct. Of course they have geschmack, they have something of light, because if the eye sees, automatically all the organs have from it, but it's not a direct. He doesn't get direct geschmack, doesn't get direct enjoyment of it. Only the eyes, which are kli, which is made to see light, they could see light, they could enjoy light. So there's the two things which have light. But there's another thing which has light. And light, since it is a makiv thing, as we mentioned before, a thing which is makiv could be very powerful, much more than a person could intake in himself. Because it doesn't penetrate in himself. For instance, if you have a toaster, a 110 toaster, which is in the United States, good for the United States. When you take it to Israel or in Europe, where you have 220 volt, you put it in, you plug it in, it's going to explode in your face. Why? Why will it explode? Because the kli which takes in the electric is too small for the watts which goes into it, for the electric. The electric is 220 and the toaster is a 110, so automatically it cannot intake such a big strong electric which he has. But what is if you take this toaster, you put it down on the table, you unplug it, and you put on the light, not 220 watts, you're putting on 100,000 watts in that room. Humongous light. It could blind you. Will something happen to this toaster? Nothing is going to happen. Why? Because when the electric goes in, it penetrates, it goes into inside in the panemius of the kli, and it doesn't have enough energy to take it, it's going to explode. But wherever is external, since beginnes makiv, he could have much more than he can intake. So that's a mile of a makiv thing, that the oil makiv is much stronger and much bigger than oil, which is basically in the panemius. So that's the thing of oil, that's light. Chayas, life, is the opposite of oil. Chayas is a thing which goes into you, into yourself, into all the organs. Everything lives. Your eyes, your brain, your heart, your lungs, your hands, your feet, your nails, your hair. Everything gets chayas from chayas, life. And wherever you go, the life is with you, because it penetrates, it's an arpanimi. It goes into you, it delves into you all the way. So basically, wherever you are going to go, life is with you. So life is the opposite of oil. Oil is only when you are by the light, then you have the enjoyment and you have all the good things which light give you. Chayas is always with you, and all the organs and everything has chayas, not only the eyes. But the chayas, which is the energy, the chay, is limited. Because after all, since it has to penetrate and has to go all the way in all the organs, automatically has to fit exactly to what your organ can take. It cannot be more energy than the organ can take. So that's the two things which you have. Oil v'chayas. Oil is beginnes makif, and the mile of oil is when you are there, it's gewaldig. You could see, and you could have a soirus and a slahavas from oil, because oil could be much more than you could take. Chayas versus chayas is ma'or panimi. It goes into you on a specific level as much as you could take, but it's always with you. Now, this is the two things which we are talking now, oil v'chayas nafshayni. The Baal Shem Tov, when he came, he brought down a oil, a gewaldige oil, a light, a oilus. As the Redefining Elul, the Heilige Redefining Elul, which is a Talmud of the Baal Shem Tov, writes, that the oilam was in the matzav of his alphas. The world was in a stage of faintness, fainting. The world in the matzav of his alphas. And the Baal Shem Tov came in and awoke them from their matzav. There should be his alphas. So the oil Baal Shem Tov came very powerful, very strong. It was like shock therapy. You know, when a person, Rahman al-Stan, has a heart attack and the heart stops working, you give shock therapy. That means you get such a strong dose of energy that the heart starts working again. That was the oil Baal Shem Tov. It came very strong, very powerful oil, very powerful energy. His oil is Kedisha. And whenever a person came to the Baal Shem Tov, and the people who was around him became Kedoshai Elyon, because they intook such a big or from the Baal Shem Tov, that the tzaddikim used to say that the neshumas which had the time of the Baal Shem Tov, his talmidim, was such a neshumas which thousands of years beforehand we didn't have. The oil was gewaldig. But when a person was not connected to the Baal Shem Tov, or even his Talmidim, which after they went away, went to their cities and their states, and after a while, oir automatically dissolved in a gewisse Beginner. So therefore they had to come constantly again and again to get connected to Hashem Tov. And that's why the Hashem Tov used to go around also, because he had to give energy constantly to the Oilam. So this is one thing which oir was. The Hashem Tov was oir, and oir is a Beginnes Makim, which is gewaldige oires. But as I mentioned before, oir, light, who enjoys light, who takes light, who uses light and utilizes it is the eyes. So the same thing goes into the Nimshel. The Talmidei of Hashem Tov, they were neshumas kedoshas. They were refined neshumas, idle neshumas. They weren't into oil mazeh agashmi. So their neshuma felt the oil of Hashem Tov. They felt it. They burned for Hashem. That's number one. Number two, who felt it? The neshuma. As I mentioned before, the eyes see light, but not all other organs. So let's take it to our emotional. The Talmidei Hamagid, the Talmidei Baal Shem Tov, which were Aina Hi'oida, like Chazal say, the Aina was the eyes of Klal Yisrael. They enjoyed and they got a lot from the Oir Hashem Tov, and that changed their lives totally. But that wasn't a thing for the masses that much. The masses did not have so much connection to the Hashem, only to the what is it called, the Moisam. But they knew there is a holy person. But being connected, elevate them in avodas Hashem was basically his Talmidim. And it was a very limited Talmidim, as we know, Shishim Geboirim, as there's a saying, because it was a Oir Makiv. In a Oir Makiv, it's very strong light, but only only the eyes enjoy it, and therefore only the neshumas enjoy it. And basically, the nefesh bahamis wasn't taken over by the light. Why? Because a oir awoke the neshuma. The neshuma got awakened. So the neshuma felt the kedusha. Is of course the nefesh bahamis, the animal soul, did not bother them because automatically they went to sleep for that period because they knew they had no chance nowadays when the neshuma is burning to start drying a cup and making them crazy with doing sins. But basically, you didn't overtake them. You didn't overmake the nefesh bahamis. Because as I said, or is only a thing which eyes see. It's not a thing which all the other organs enjoy. And the same thing is only the neshama, which is a kli for or leki. He felt the kedusha, and the nefesh bahamis stayed where it is. Of course, there was kedoshi elyon, but basically the nefesh bahamis they didn't bother the nefesh lekis because there was in a massive of a yoshin, they were sleeping, but you didn't overtake him. And that was very good at the time of the Hashem Tov because you had the oil constantly. The Alter Rebbe came and saw that there will be a time that when a person will not be in that room where the light is. Because oil, you have to be in that room. Once you leave that room, there's no light. It will come a time when you have to go away from this time. The neshumas are going slowly. The further we go away from the times of the Hashem Tov in the Magid, basically the neshuma is not as refined as once upon a time. And we have gishmak and oilam as agashmi, we have earthly gishmaks. So automatically we don't feel that much. That kedusha, that or, that fire, we don't have it that much. So he felt and he said, let's take this oil, Hashem Tov, which is oil and fire, and let's bring it down and make it at chayas. That means bring it down, bo'efim panimi, it should be also chayas. And chayas, as I mentioned, penetrates all places in all organs, even the hair and even the nails, everything gets chayas from when you live. So the Alter Rebbe said like this, it will come a time which the neshumas will not be able to have this oil of Hashem Tov. Let's take this oil and bring it down in a lower darga. That means bring it down away from panimi, that the neshuma should have shaykh to it, and also the nefesh bahamis should have shaykh to it. Why? Because seichel is a thing which the nefesh bahamis also understands. Because the nefesh bahamis, the animal soul, also uses seichel for his own benefits. So Seichel is a thing which could explain the Nefesh Bahamias. Tami Irui K'toiv Hashem. You should know and see that godliness is good. And you can explain it to him. Because we have to understand, after all, the Nefesh Bahamias, the animal soul is not the Yetzer Hara. It's not bad. It's an animal. What's an animal? Animal's not bad. An animal has his own desires, his own taivas, and it wants to be comfortable, wants to be happy, wants to have geschmack. So the Nefesh Bahami is the same thing. He wants to be happy and geschmack and enjoy life. Now, since he knows Olam Hazeh Gashmi, his geschmack is Olam Hazeh Gashmi, in all the goodness which there is in this world. But if you could explain him, and you could start telling him and showing him that there's some sweetness, and that a geschmack, there's a light, also in a lekus, in Göttlichkeit, in holiness, he's going to be there. He's going to be on your page. You could do it. It's not easy. It's way not easy. But when you do it and you learn it and you work with him, after a while you could start making him enjoy ruchnius. Start working with him and he should enjoy ruchnius. And that's what the pasuk says. B'chol lavavchu v'nafshu b'chol moedechu. So Chazal say b'chol lavavchu b'shnei yitzorechu. Because Hashem wants we should worship him. We should should be over the Hashem also with the Yetzer Hara and also with the Yetzer Tov. How do you do the Yetzer Hara should be on the same page as you? When you explain him that what? There's something sweetness, there's goodness in Elikis, in Torah Mitzvahs. Torah Mitzvahs is something beautiful. Once you explain it to him, then you could have him on the same page with you, and he's going to help you. And he's going to work with you. And that's Chayes. The Abba Shem Tov took, the Alter Rebbe took the oil and brought it down with Seichel. That's not a skula. Let me make it clear. Chabad is not a skula. Enlightenment. Enlightenment was Seichel Enushi. Human Seichel. Human Seichel, in a way, has a problem. Because human Seichel is a cold-blooded thing. And today he understands one way, and comes somebody which is smarter than him and explains him the opposite way, he's going to go with that. He doesn't know, no, you explain me, I understand, and I'm going with that. So human Seichel has a problem when it goes only with Seichel. Chabad is not human Seichel. Chabad is Seichel to take the Ora Leki and bring it down that Seichel should also understand it, and he should give it to explain it also for the Nefesh Bahamis, for the animal soul. So basically, the Alter Rebbe took the Ora of Hashem Tov and brought it down that the Nefesh Bahamis should understand it. The Nefesh Bahamis should be taken over with it. And then, even at a time when there will be no light, at least Chayes always goes with you. Chayes goes with you. Food, when a person eats something, wherever he goes, the food is with him. Why? Because it penetrates him, it's or panim. But light, once he leaves the room, he doesn't have light. And there's the idea, the famous question, which one of the Bala Musa, that time, it was before the Musa movement, but one of Yid asked once the Bashem Tov HaKudosh, what is the difference between the Bashem Tov, his Torah, and what is the difference between the Musar we had, Rashis Chochmo, Mitzvah Shiur, but all kinds of Sifrei Musar. What's the difference between you and him? And that answer which the Hashem gave him would also explain another thing. There was a lot of movements which came on the scene by Klal Yisrael. They came in and they went out, and they didn't make any dent in Klal Yisrael. But when you're talking about Chassidus came on stage, and in no time, the whole revolution became the establishment. So much that 75 years later, after the Bashem HaKudosh, the Bashem passed away, the Kotzker Rebbe said, since the revolution became the establishment, we have to reawaken a new revolution. And he was trying, but it didn't go that much. Because it was such a success, in the whole history of Klal Yisrael, there wasn't such a success. That what? A movement should come and should overtake all Klal Yisrael. Why? What was the message? Why did it have such a success? And that was that question, was that Yid asked the Bashem Tov. What? There was before Rashis Chochmo, with all kinds of Sifrei Misr. What did your message, how come this penetrated so much that Klal Yisrael took it over? And he answered with a mushal. He says there was a guy who was a robber. He used to make bank robberies. And we all know Soiv Ganav L'Tliya. Eventually all the Genuvim get caught. And he was caught. And they sentenced him 3 years to prison. And he was 3 years in prison. Did he steal the 3 years? No, he didn't steal. Why didn't he steal 3 years? Because he didn't have the opportunity to steal. He was locked up. He had no way how to do it. So 3 years, he didn't do anything. He was a good boy. Once his sentence is over and you release him, the first thing he's going to do is going to go to the first bank and rob it. As we know, statistic today's day, as we know today that 65% of people which go into prison come out being worse criminals than they went in, because they have all kind of new ideas from other prisons how to do this job and not getting caught. So the Baal Shem Tov says, if you take the Ganav, this robber, you put it into jail and you don't do with him anything, he's going to come out and start robbing again. You need to explain him that it doesn't make sense what you do. You're going into robbing a bank, you're robbing money. It's not a life. Go out, get a job, be on the books, start paying taxes, build up your assets, and become a gevir, and do tzedukah v'chesed. If you explain him this, he starts thinking, you know what? It doesn't pay to rob. Make sense? He's not going to rob, even though he's out of jail. Zug the Baal Shem Tov. Miser comes and tells you, don't do that because there's a Gehenna. They're going to take you and burn you and they're going to slice you and whatever the Reish Chochmah writes over there. You didn't change him. He's afraid. And when it comes a time when you're not afraid anymore of the Reish Chochmah of the Gehenna, as Leider, Ladavanaini, today's day, you talk to a Bocher, you say, you're going to go to Gehenna, doesn't talk to him. That won't help him not to do something which he doesn't want or doesn't want to do. Gehenna doesn't talk to him. So once he doesn't have this fear, he's going to steal again, he's going to do again, he's going to be back in business. I said the Baal Shem Tov, I explain him and I shine to him a light. It doesn't make sense what you do. Go out and get a job, make some money. What did the Alter Rebbe do? One step further. Even the Ganav, which the Baal Shem Tov, as he said, explained that it doesn't make sense to rob and to steal. When he comes out and he wants to go to work, he has no working skills. He has no job. So what is going to happen? He's going to have to go somehow and steal again because he has to have food on the table. He doesn't have a job. He doesn't have any skills. So basically, even though if he understands it, he has the oil. He understands that he cannot do that way. But what should he do? The Alter Rebbe said, and his Shlita was, let's give for this man a job. Let's teach him working skills. Let's start building him up. And once he has a job, he's never ever going to go again to this old path. So das is the Nikide von Orwe Chais nach Shiny. The Baal Shem Tov came, brought a light, a gewaltige oir. Shock therapy. But shock therapy is only once he has a dom lev. How do they say? When you have a heart attack. After you stabilize this person, you have to give him a normal lifestyle. You have to see where the clogs are. You have to see what's doing with his heart, and give him a normal diet. So the shock therapy is good only the first second when you need to have shock therapy. But after a while, you have to stabilize him. So then the Alter Rebbe came and took the Torah of Baal Shem Tov and brought it down in a way that Seichel should understand it, explain it to the Nefesh Bahamias, give him skills how to work with the Nefesh Bahamias. And that's the Nikida, was the Alter Rebbe, was the Rebbe Rashab writes, Oir v'chayis nafshayni. Yud Tes Kislev is the day which the Alter Rebbe, the Mezzer Shemagitz Yortzeit, this is Oir, because he was the disciple of the Baal Shem Tov. And the Alter Rebbe is the Chayis. He took the Chayis with the Oir, and he made it, we have now the Mile of Oir and Chayis. And he finishes with Torah Baal Shem Tov. That's the Torah Baal Shem Tov. That's the Torah Baal Shem Tov. The Alter Rebbe did not do anything more, no big, science rocket, which something new. He took the Torah of Baal Shem Tov and he brought it down in a way that when I have no, my neshama does not hear the oil, does not see the light, when we are in darkness, when our neshama is not revealed, we should be able to take care of ourselves by the Nefesh Bahamis understands and explains it, and the Chayes is constantly there, and that was the big oifti of Bechlal, Klulis of Teures Achsidis Bechlal, and Teures Chabad, Befrat, in Teures of Hashem Tov. Okay, so at least we know what the message was. The message was the Hashem Tov was oil, the Alter Rebbe was Chayes. But what is it? What was the Hashem Tov's message, which that was the oil? And what was the Alter Rebbe's message, well, that was the Chayes? What was the message? And basically the message, so to speak, of everything about the Hashem Tov is one word. Let's understand something. We all know that Chassidus made a major impact on Yiddishkeit. As I mentioned before, the revolution became the establishment. A major. It changed a lot of things. It changed the way how we know Ashgucha Prutis, what it is. The Shem Tov's Ashgucha Prutis, which basically the Rishonim did not go with it. As the Ashgucha Prutis on every single thing. He made a change in Betuchen, the way how the Shem Tov says Betuchen, what Betuchen means. As is Vadai, if you have real Betuchen, it will Vadai, it will for sure change the problem. It will I have Betuchen, it's going to become good. He changed Simcha. Doing a Torah mitzvah b'simcha. He changed it that from now on you don't need to have fasting. You could serve Hashem with eating, drinking, sleeping, with tefillah, which one of the things which we're going to delve in a little bit later. Also, basically in the Kinteros, which they gave out of here, the Alter Rebbe has a long explanation of the avodas hatefillah by Chassidim, because this is one of the things which the government wanted to know why Chassidim brought in tefillah. And so on and so forth. A lot of things changed after B'Shem Tov. So what does it mean? The B'Shem Tov did a lot of separate single things. 1 week was Mifza Betuchen. We worked on Betuchen. Next week was Mifza Ashgucha Protis. 3rd week was Mifza Simcha. 4th week was Achille Shtia. You serve Hashem with Achille Shtia. It's not that. It's one message, but from there everything evolves. What was the message of the Hashem Tov? The Hashem Tov's message was Ein Oid Milvadoi. There isn't anything other than Hashem. Hashem is here, Hashem is there, Hashem is everywhere, how they say in the song. That was the Nekida of the Hashem Tov. Ein Oid Milvadoi. Hashem is everywhere. So, when Hashem is everywhere, and when I do Torah mitzvahs and Hashem is right next to me, and He looks at me, I'm besimcha. I'm besimcha to do what Hashem wants, but He's right next to me. I'm together with Him. I'm close with Him. I have betuchen that everything's going to be fine. Why? Because Hashem is around me. He sees me. He sees my pain. So of course He's going to help me. Because again, the message of Ein Mebade entails everything which all these things. Ashgucha Prutis. If Hashem is all over, everywhere, automatically He sees everything and He deals with everything. There's no such thing, something happens, any fly falls, comes into my house is only because Hashem wanted it to be. Because if Hashem is over here, every single thing which happens in this world, He's involved. So everything comes from this message, Ein Mevada. And as we know, when the B'Shem Tov HaKudish was a child, his father was an old man when he had him, and was geboren. He was born by a whole famous story. He was born by a brocha from Eliyahu Novi. And before the B'Shem Tov's father, Rabbi Eliezer, passed away, he said for the B'Shem Tov, "Listen to me. I'm going to give you one message. Don't be afraid of anything. Don't be afraid of anything. Since Hashem is with you, He's around you, don't be afraid of anything." And that was the message he got from his father. And that was the message which he carried on further and further, because that was his message. Ein Oid Milvada, and from that everything evolves. And we can go through everything which Chassidus brought in our world, which there's a lot of things, which it's not the time now to go into specific things. Everything comes out from this one thing, Ein Oid Milvada, Hashem is all over. That was the oil of the Hashem Tov. Ein Oid Milvada, Hashem is everywhere and is with us constantly. What was the message of the Alter Rebbe? The Chayes of the Alter Rebbe, as we mentioned, he is Chayes. The Alter Rebbe's motto was a medrash, which a medrash says, Hashem wanted to have a dira, a dwelling place, a house, betachtoinim, in our world. What is a house? What is a house? A house is a place where a person reveals himself as he is. Everybody in his house is exactly how he is. A doctor, for instance, when he goes out to his office, he wears a white gown, white jacket, because he's a doctor. It says who he is. A lawyer has a nice suit and a tie. A judge, a black garment. Everybody, when he goes out on the street, he has a garment which explains, tells him what he is basically. He gets influenced by the community, by the street, by everything. But all of these people, when they come into their house, they take off the jacket, and they are how they are. So a house is a thing where a person reveals himself exactly how he is. No fooling around, no cover-ups, nothing cares. Society doesn't care. I am how I am. The President of the United States, in his house, could go as the guy of the homeless person. No difference. Because a house, a dira, is where a person gets revealed as he is. When Hashem says, I would like to have a dira, betachtoinem, that means Hashem says, I want to be there where I am, exactly what I am. Wie ich bin. I want to be revealed without all this kind of garments. Because you have to understand, Chassidus explains, all Hashem's names are garments. Hashem's name is, you have Hashem, Kail, Elikim, Rachim. These are all spheres. What's a sphere? A sphere is how Hashem puts himself on a garment. When he puts himself on a garment of Chesed, then he's called Abal Chesed, and he's called Kail. Chesed Kail Kol Hayom. When he puts himself on a garment of Kaviyuchel, of Gvira, he's called Elikim. Rasha, we see in Rasha all these things. That means it's not the Reibish Tevir, it's Batz Misoy, where he is the essence of Hashem. The essence of Hashem it has no name. Has no name. It's Hechef in the name, and they call it the Noichi. Anoichi Havai Lekechu, that's where Hashem is revealed as it is. Anoichi Misha Anoichi means, I am where I am, I have no name, because that's the essence of Hashem. When Hashem says, I would like to have a dir b'tachtoinim, that means, I would like that over here Lamata, you should bring down Gili Alekis even more than this Lamaila. And that was the message of the Alter Rebbe. Dire betachtoinim. When you do a mitzvah, when you do learn Torah, wherever you do for Hashem, you're bringing down Hashem. You should be revealed begili, because He is all over, as the Baal Shem Tov says. I know Bavada, but He's hidden. The Alter Rebbe is avoiding gewesen. We should bring Him down and reveal Himself, that we should see Him through Torah mitzvahs. So basically, that was the two messages, which that made the big mapaicha by Klal Yisrael, because this is a message which is so powerful, it's so strong. When a person gets to know it, basically his whole life changes. Because Chassidus is here to change the outlook, how we look on the world, how we look on Elokis, how we look on godliness, how we look on Torah mitzvahs. It's totally different than we had it till now. And I would like to delve into a couple of explanations, a couple of instances, digmoes, that we should understand what Chassidus changed and how they changed the lives of so many people and why it became so popular. I want to start up with one thing. We know we just not too long ago was Chodesh Elul, was Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. I once heard from a Chassidish young man. Chassidish Yamin, I mean to say, he calls himself, he goes with the Shtreim in the backage, and he tells me, it was the middle of Elul, he tells me like this: I would love to go to sleep today and awaken Isser Chag Sikas, a day after Sikas, and the whole Elul and Shoshana, Yom Kippur, Simchas Torah. I want to sleep it through. And I was shocked to hear such words. What do you mean? You know what Elul is? The Shoshana? He says, what do you mean? It's a depressing time. It makes me nervous. I can't stand it. Even Sikkos, which is basically more a happy time, where there's a Shana Rabbah in the middle. I would love to go to sleep and stay up a day after Sikkos and being done with it. And I'm starting looking at him. What's going on with you? What's your problem? So then I realized, when he had the concept, before Chassidus told us what's Elul and what's Rosh Hashanah, that was the way how people felt. Because Elul, what's Elul, which we know. When we brought up, when we were a child, Elul was a day we have to prepare. It's going to be a Yom Adin. It's going to be a court system. There's a court system, and it's going to be a trial, and we are going up for trial. So basically, you have to prepare. You have to have defense lawyers. You have to have, there will be a prosecutor and a defense lawyer. And anybody who went through the system, I hope nobody should go through, but anybody who did go through knows it's a very depressing time, and very tiring time, and it's very uncomfortable at that time. And everybody would like to be a day after the trial is over. Let me be over and finished. So when you look at Elul this way, it is depressing. But when you look how Chassidus explains Chodesh Elul, that Chodesh Elul is a time when the Melech Basuda, when the king goes out on the field, it is election time. He's on the campaign trail. Kavayuchel, the president is on campaign trail. That when the king is in his palace, you could wait years to go into him and shake his hand. And you have to go through all this kind of, bring him a present, and you have to... But when he's on the campaign trail, he shakes everybody's hand, he's smiling to everybody, he gives all kind of goodies, it's gewaldig. A campaign trail. So the Alter Rebbe, in his Mavir and other Sefer Chassidus, that Elul is a time when Kavayuchel the Rabbi Shalom goes out on the field, and it says, the Rabbi side, anybody who wants to see me, I'm here to talk to you. With a smile, he accepts you. Melech Basuda. So when a person understands, he Ma'er Yidgim Midas HaRachmam, says Oires Aliyoinam, it's a Chodesh which is such a simchadik Chodesh, I cannot wait for Elul. Elul is a moirigi time. It makes me besimcha. The same goes as Rosh Hashanah. If Rosh Hashanah is only the day of the trial, then you're in bad shape. Then maybe, I don't know what's going to happen. Mi Yichye, mi Yumis, mi Barash, mi Bekitzi, and the Saman Toikev, everybody gets excited about the Saman Toikev. Why? Because it talks to you. And if Rosh Hashanah means that's Rosh Hashanah, then of course it's very uncomfortable, unpleasant, and you would like to be a day after. But when you learn what Chassidus explains what Rosh Hashanah is, it's a totally different look at Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is a time when you inaugurate the king. It's a hoiches man, it's a simchadik man, because it's a nomination date. Of course, whatever Chazal says is 100% true, because usually when we go to ask the king, we would like that you should become our king, we should be our servants, your servants. So basically he starts looking, let me see how you served me last year. Of course, but that's not the point of Rosh Hashanah. The point of Rosh Hashanah is a day which we are asking Hashem, and we are bringing down Hashem to be the king again on this world. He should be with us again. And that's why it's a day which is B'simcha. If you look in Tanakh, Nehemiah writes, Shesimam takim, ichlim ashmanim, eat fatty foods, drink sweet drinks. It's a yontif. You're not allowed to fast Rosh Hashanah. Why? Because Rosh Hashanah has a different message. The message is not, it's a trial date. The message is that we are getting connected again to Hashem. When you hear this thing of Rosh Hashanah, it's a different Rosh Hashanah, and you don't want to sleep over. You want to be up. I remember a while ago, a couple of years ago, Shabbos was Chai Elul. Chai Elul was Shabbos. Chai Elul is the day, the birthday of the Baal Shem Tov and of the Alter Rebbe. They were born in the same day. Different years, but the same day. So by us, in the Heiche Malachim months, we had a Verbrengen, and was speaking what the Lubavitch Rebbe writes in his writings, that Chai Elul means as the Baal Shem Tov in the Alter Rebbe, which were born on that day, gave in a Chayas into Elul. I gave it a Chayas into Elul. And I spoke about it, delved into it, as this point that Elul is a Geschmack, it's a Hoichetzes man, and it's a Geschmackes man. There were over there a boy, a bocher, from a Chassidish home, with Rachmana litzlan had a big Yerida in Ruchnius. And somebody had invited him for Shabbos, and he was there for Shabbos. And he came to us down. He stayed for the Verbrengen, he was listening, and after the Verbrengen, I asked him, maybe you want to come to me for Shabbos meal? He says, why not? Go ahead, I'm going, no problem. He came to me for the Shabbos meal. In the middle of the Shabbos meal, he tells me, Rabbi, I want to tell you something. I never in my life heard this kind of words. Never in my life. Elul, Rosh Hashanah, was depressing. Was a day which I wanted to run away. I wish I was never in the sight of Elul Rosh Hashanah. I never heard this kind of words. And listen to this word what he finishes up. From this Torah mitzvahs, from this Eibishter, I never ran away. I never ran away. It was a different Eibishter, a different Torah mitzvah, I ran away. And then I realized how powerful this message is, which Chassidus changed the outlook, the outlook of this whole Elul Tishra, and it became a Geschmack, a day which is Geschmack, and you look forward because you get connected to Hashem. Another digma, another example of how Chassidus changed the whole outlook. There's a question anybody does with Bocharam, or maybe today's day there's a lot of 90-year-old people which are also basically in mind, also Bocharam, but there's a lot of a question which they ask. What does Hashem gain from my doing Torah mitzvahs? Hashem is so big and so holy, and ein oid melvado, in the Eibishter is ein sof. He needs I should serve him. I should serve Hashem. I could give something for him. Did you give something for Hashem? What does it mean? You should serve Hashem. You should serve Hashem. Eved means usually when a person, you have a master, and he needs something. He needs a coffee. He has a servant. Do me a favor. Give me the coffee. He needs food. The servant brings him. He has desires which the servant could fulfill it. If Hashem has everything and is infinite, so basically, what do we give for Hashem? And a person does not want to serve a person when he doesn't feel and see something, he has out of it something. If you say for a guy, for instance, build me this house. I'm going to pay you top dollar. And he builds you the house. And the next day when the house is finished, you burn it down, and you come to him again, build me an hour again. He's going to say, I'm going to pay you even more than you got till now. He's going to say, I'm sorry. You'll find somebody else. Nobody wants to work for a person which doesn't appreciate and doesn't need what I'm doing, even though that you're paying me. So this is a question which a lot of Bochum are asking. Why do we have to serve Hashem? What does he gain from us? And you should know, who asked this question? The Balatanya in the Torah asked this question exactly. He asked, Hashem has everything. What do you mean, you should be a servant to Hashem? We could give something for Hashem? And he answers the answer, which if he wouldn't have said it, we couldn't have said it. And he answers like this. Yes, there is one thing, kavayuchel, so to speak, that only we could give for Hashem, and he himself cannot, kavayuchel, have it. That means there is something which we give, and only we could give him. What is it? What we mentioned before. Hashem wants that we, the Tachten, a human being, should bring him down, reveal his godliness on this world. And he wants it should be done only by a human being which has blood and flesh. He doesn't want Malachim should do it, he wants only we should do it. So basically, only we can do it. Nobody can do it, only we. Why you want it this way? Why did they have this kind of desire? I don't know. And as the expression of the Alter Rebbe, if a taiva is kein kasha nicht. The Medrash says, he has a taiva. A taiva is a taiva. A person has a taiva, you don't even know. It's higher than Seichen. Why Hashem wanted that only we should do it, only a human being, I don't know. But after he decided this is what he wants, nobody can do it, only we can do it. We could give Kavayuchel something for Hashem. You know what it means? Think about it. A person which is nothing could give something for the Eibishter which is Ein Sof. It's mind-boggling when you think about this. Think about President of the United States goes on the street, finds a homeless person, and tells him, you know what, do me a favor, come work for me in the White House. I would like somebody should clean for me, bring me my coffee, bring me my food. How would that person feel? He could give something for the president. He could do something for a king. Think about it. I could give something for Hashem, which nobody could do. And only a person, a human being, which is flesh, in this world could do it. When you have this in mind, Torah and mitzvahs looks totally different. It's totally different what it means. Because we have given something for Hashem. A third thing. A question also which comes up a lot by people. And the Shoma is Lamaila, Tachas Kisa HaKuvat, Gewaldig, and Shaykh zu sagen. It's so holy. It's so Kudish. And the Shoma, you know what it means? A Yiddish and the Shoma. Comes down in a world, embodied in a body, in a world which is full of garbage and full of temptations. Why? It's such a big, drastic, from such a high level to coming down on this world. Why is it? Why did Hashem do it? What's wrong with the neshama? Could serve Hashem Lamala? How is Lamala? And it's a very strong question. People ask it constantly. And in the answer of this which Chassidus gives, and I want to answer this question and explain this Indian why Hashem did it with a story which I heard several years ago, a really powerful story from a guy about Tshuva, once went into Yechidus. He had a private audience to the Lubavitcher Rebbe. And he says, Rebbe, I don't understand. I became about Tshuva. I want to serve Hashem. I want to daven. I want to learn Torah all day. I want to do all the mitzvahs. Why do I have all this kind of problems, all kind of obstacles? Why? Why can't I be like a malach? A malach could all day sit and learn Torah and diening in Leibishten and serve Hashem. Gewaldig. Why can't I be like a malach? If Hashem wants I should serve Him, help me. Why does He give me all the obstacles? The Rabbi turns around to him and asks him, tell me, do you have any hobbies in life? He says, yes, I have a hobby. I am an artist. And I am very into paintings. So the Rabbi asked him, who is the painter, the artist which you're crazy over him? He says, Picasso. Picasso, he is the artist which, his paintings, I go crazy. So the Rabbi asked him, what painting are you the most excited? Which is the most beautiful painting? What is the painting which elevates you? You have simcha to see it. He says there's one painting which is called Shkia, sunset. What is it? It's a children by the ocean, playing with the sand, with the shells, you know, with the sand over there. And back, there's an elderly couple walking, and the children don't realize that there's an elderly couple walking, and the sunset and shines on them. It's a marvelous picture. So the Rabbi asked him, do you have any idea how much such a picture is worth? He says, happens to be, it went on auction a couple of months ago, and it was sold for $6 million. The Rabbi says, what? $6 million? Why so expensive? He says, Rabbi, you don't know. You know how real that picture is? You should have seen the picture. The children, the couple, the son. It's unbelievable to look at the picture. Every time I look at that picture, I'm going wild. It's so real. Of course it's worth $6 million. So the Rabbi asks him, tell me, if you go to the ocean and you have two children playing over there by the sand with the shells, a boy and a girl, and the elderly couple going in back of them, and the sunset, exactly how the picture is on that canvas, and you take your camera, your digital camera, you snap a picture, a photo, how much will that photo be? How much will it be worth it? He thinks, and he says, this postcard will be 25 cents. So the Rabbi turns to him, explain me. I don't understand. You tell me that this picture is worth $6 million because it's so real. This picture, this postcard is the real stuff. He got the picture exactly how he was. Really the real stuff. So why is this $6 million? And why is this 25 cents? And he thinks, he says, I don't know. A good question. You know, in the radio they say, when they ask you a question, say, you have a good question. You know? Good question. So the Rebbe says, I'm going to explain you. Picasso, when he put this picture down on paper, on canvas, he had to imagine the picture, he had to memorize this picture, he had to put it down on paper, on canvas, exactly how it was. It should be real. He could make mistakes. He's a human being. And most probably he made mistakes. But the end project was so beautiful, and it's so alive, and it's so real, it's worth $6 million. Because a human being which could make mistakes, and he did not make mistake, and he gave out a product which is so real, it's worth $6 million. This postcard from your camera is a machine, it's automatic. A machine takes the picture exactly how he sees it. He does not make any mistakes. Automatic, 25 cents. So the Rebbe like this. A person's avoider which has obstacles, has problems in life, has a Yetzer Hara and a Nefesh Mahamis. And when he overcomes this, it's not $6 million, it's priceless. His Torah mitzvahs is priceless. A Malach is automatic. There's no Yetzer Hara, no obstacles, 25 cents. So the Rebbe says, now let me hear again your question. Why did Hashem make me as a human being, which I could make serve Hashem for priceless of money, and why didn't he make me like a Malach, which it's worth 25 cents? You still have the question? So what's the message of this story? Chassidus gave a new outlook on Torah mitzvahs. What a mitzvah means, that it's priceless. And when you know what a mitzvah is priceless, you have a geschmack to do it. You want to do it. You run after it. It's not just you have to do it because you have to do it. You want to do it. I remember I had an uncle. He was living in Bnei Brak. He was a big tzaddik, an older guy, big tzaddik. He had a kiosk. He used to sell soda, all kind of goodies, you know, and the kiosk was right next to Beis Yaakov of Bnei Brak. He was over there in the store, in the kiosk. He used to say for the girls like this: anybody who's coming to my store and makes a bracha loud, I should be able to say, oh mine, I'm giving a free cup of seltzer, cup of soda. And all the girls, when it came to lunch, recess, everybody was there making brachas, and he was giving, you know, free seltzers. After a month, his wife saw that there's only expenses, no income. And he said for his husband, do me a favor, you go in shul, be all day in shul, and say Omain's over there from all the brachas, berachas hashayach from everybody, and let me take care of the store. And that was he did. I still remember him. He used to be over there constantly all day in shul, saying Umayns, Mata Shabbos, all Mata Shabbos saying Besumam and saying Umayns, because he knew what it means to say a Umayn. He knew what it means, a mitzvah. He knew how priceless it is, a mitzvah. So he was all day in shul, listening to somebody should say Umayn, that he should be able to serve Hashem. But when a person sees and knows this, gets it in his mind, Torah mitzvahs is not a burden. He doesn't want to go to sleep till after Simchas Torah. He doesn't want to do a davening just right, you know, chachipri. He wants to be over there. He wants to have a shaykh of Torah mitzvahs. It's a geschmack. And if we are machanach our children this way, we have a lot of problems to avoid. We can avoid a lot of problems. Because today's day, you have to do it like this, you have to do it like that. You're burdening the children. You don't give the geschmack in Torah mitzvahs. You don't give the oil which is in Torah mitzvahs. You don't give the chayes in Torah mitzvahs. So therefore, automatically, they don't want to listen. And another thing which is over here. The Alter Rebbe writes in Lekita Torah that when a person does a mitzvah, gets surrounded with Ora Soivav. That means the highest oil which a person can get over here. Oil Habu, you don't have this thing. Oil Habu is the limited oil. This world is an oil which is Ora Soivav. And he explains what we say, he says, as we mentioned before, Noichi means Hashem, where he's the essence of Hashem. And Metzavchu means connection. That Anoichi Metzavchu, you get connected by Torah mitzvahs, by Dvurim Ein, you get connected to Torah mitzvahs, and it's only Hayoim. It's only on this world. The world to come, even the biggest Gan Eden, has no shaykhs to what we have over here. 1 hour, 1 minute in this world is much more than a whole Gan Eden. And over here is Kedai to bring the story, a beautiful story which I read once. Rabbi Chitri brings it down in one of his books, that Rabbi Hillel Paracha, I'm sure a lot of people have heard of him. Rabbi Hillel Paracha was one of the disciples, the Talmidim of the Tzemach Tzedek in the Middle Rebbe. He had like a small yeshiva, and he sat once with his Talmidim, and he told them a story. And the story, I'm sure, most of you heard already. The story of the Maram Merotmerk. The Maram Merotmerk was basically the father of the Ashkenazic Jewry. The Motche, the Rosh. Most of Gedalia Yisrael are students of the Maram Merotmerk, and we passed more or less like the Maram Merotmerk. Now when he was the Gudel Adar in his time, and the king, or the governor over there, I don't know what his position was, grabbed him for ransom. He said for the Kehillah over there, I want X amount of money. If not, I'm not going to release the Maram Merotmerk. The Maram Merotmerk says, no, don't release me. Don't give any ransom. Because if you're going to give the ransom money, which is a lot of money, tomorrow somebody else was going to do the same thing and grab one of the other rabbis, Klal Yisrael, and it's going to be Hefkairas. It's like the Shlita Shechanorach, that you cannot take a shivui. If somebody gets caught by the enemies, you cannot pay whatever they want. Because then you can't make a precedent of such a thing. He said no. And he stayed in prison for years. And he died in prison. After he died, so the Kehillah asked from the governor or the king, do me a favor, give the body. He says, no, I want the ransom. No ransom, no body. And he stayed in prison, his body, his dead body, for a couple of years. Till there was one guy, who was a wealthy guy, he decided enough is enough. He sold whatever he had, and he took the money, and he ransomed the Maram Merotmerk, and he buried him. And he asked the Chaver Gedisha, I don't want anything from you, in return, one thing.
Yeah.
When I pass away, when I die, I want to lie right next to the Maram Merotmerk. And they gave him in, because you know what he did? That was summertime. Aseris in my yeshiva, this Yid has a chulam from Maram Merotmerk, comes to him and tells him like this, my lieber Yid, you did a gewaltige Sache. You did something which the whole in Shemayim is a big rash, a big tumult, there's a big, but the mitzvah what you did, you sold everything what you have, your whole, all your money, your wealth, and we want to give you back something. So you have an option. You could ask Arichas Yomim, longevity, and you should have a lot of money, and your children will have money, doires, or Imi b'mechetzusi, you'll be with me in Gan Eden. You know what it means to be with the Maram Merotmerk in Gan Eden? Live here in Torah from Moshe Rabbeinu and from all the tzaddikim. But you have to decide now. There's no way you have to think, you have to decide now. So he makes his cheshbonis over there in the middle of his dream, and he comes to the conclusion, I want to be with the Maram Merotmerk in Gan Eden, and I'm ready. I don't want Arichas Yomim, money, I want to be with the Maram Merotmerk in Gan Eden. So the Maram Merotmerk said, okay, you got it, but when you wake up tomorrow morning, write a will, and tomorrow night you're dying. You cannot stay all the way. This is either. He says, no problem. He woke up in the morning, he wrote a will, everything settled, all his whatever he had left, and he passed away at night. And they buried him right next to Maram Merotmerk, and by the way, the Maram Merotmerk's gravestone, and this year's gravestone is still over here in Germany. You can still see it. He lies right next to Maram Merotmerk. So the Hillel asks his students, tell me, did he do a good thing or did he not do a good thing? So he started the debate. No, what do you say? Some guy said, of course he did a good thing. You know what it means Maram Merotmerk in Gan Eden? With all the tzaddikim, Maram Merotmerk, Arishon. You know what it means? Of course he did a good thing.
According to the citizen out there, he didn't do it.
Rabbi Hillel said this guy was a shoite meshita. He was a stupid guy. The only thing was, it was before the Alter Rebbe, before the Chassidus came down, so we could have some liberty chis. But if it would have been after Chassidus, he would never ask such a thing, and if yes, he was stupid. Because when a person knows what does it mean to do one mitzvah in this world, one mitzvah. We're talking now Arichas Yomim, but even not Arichas Yomim. One more day to putting on tefillin and saying Umayim is worth everything. So therefore, it wasn't a good choice. But this is only how Chassidus brought and changed the outlook on Torah mitzvahs. They changed what a mitzvah means. Then you could have this kind of question. But before, of course, he did a good thing. Before we had this outlook, of course. But once we know what a Torah mitzvah is, so then we know that it was a stupid choice. Another thing which we could go further. Nisyonos. Also a thing which constantly people ask. Why in the world do I have to have all kinds of nisyonos? And there's a question which all of them asking. Such an obstacle. Why? Which we dealt a little bit before, but Chassidus brings out the beauty of a nisoyon. Of course, you're asking, we don't need any nisoyons. But the beauty of a nisoyon, how a nisoyon elevates you, this is Chassidus, is this in long Mamorim. The Alter Rebbe says, Ki manasa v'ayla kaichem, manasa, nisoyon is lush urim nice. It picks you up, it elevates you. And a nisoyon elevates you. And when every obstacle when a person has, you get close to Hashem much more than if you do Torah mitzvah without any obstacles. And over here there's also a story which I heard, one of the Shlichim of Belgium. His name is Rabbi Shlita. He told me a story which he had with himself. A marvelous story which brings out this point. He says that he's the Shlich in Belgium, and he was once verbrengen. And walked in a boy, 22-year-old boy, walked in, sat down. And over there they sang, there's a song in Lubavitch which they sing, a very powerful, emotional, beautiful nigun, which whenever you heard it, you could dissolve, mamash. And that boy listened to that song, and he got very emotional of the song, and he says, I want to make a start into doing a shiur. I want to have a shiur with you. Every week I want to come and learn with you. And he came every week learning with him. He was working in the EU, in Brussels. In the EU, he was a very smart boy. And he was the computer system of the EU, European Union Parliament. He was working over there. And he used to come once a week, learn with this shlich. He became closer to Torah mitzvahs. He started putting on tefillin. He started doing Shabbos. Closer and closer. And he had a good head, and he grasped stuff very fast. The shlich tells me that whenever I spoke with him and I asked him to invite him for Shabbos, he says, I cannot come. He looked down on the floor, and he said, I cannot come. I have to go to Italy. It was very funny for me. He says, there are people who could not look you in the face, but he could look me in the face always. Whenever I ask him, come for me for Shabbos for the weekend, his eyes goes down on the floor and he says, I cannot come, I won't be here weekends, I will be in Italy. He saw something smell over here, something's fishy. So, he got the opportunity once and I asked him, tell me, I'm talking to you constantly, we're friends already. Why whenever I ask you, come for me for Shabbos, I see your action, something's funny, what's the problem? He said, I'll tell you the secret. Since we were learning, I became very close to Hashem. I'm davening, I'm putting on tefillin every day, doing all mitzvahs, I'm getting closer and closer to Hashem. But there's one thing in my life which I have a problem. I have a girlfriend, which is Rahman Nazdana Goita. And I love her. I want to marry her. And basically, I know that a Yid cannot marry a Goy. And he adds, I know there's such a thing as gairus, conversion, but conversion is too a holy thing that I should use it for my own personal ego and personal
Tavas. This is what he understood already. I'm not going to make guidance because I would like to have this girl. But I don't know what to do. I have love for her and I don't know what to do. So the Shlich tells him, there's a lot of Rabbonim over here in Antwerp. Go around, ask. And he told me a couple of names where he went. And he came back to him and says, I went to all of them and everybody explained me better how the Gehenna is going to look. How they're going to slice me and burn me. And they visualize it, mamash gewaldig. But what should I tell you? It didn't talk to me. It didn't talk to me. I still have this problem. What should I do? So the Shlich tells him, I cannot help you with this problem, but there's only one thing I could advise you. Every Sunday, the Lubavitcher Rebbe distributes dollars for Yidden. Thousands of Yidden go through. Pick yourself up, drive, fly to New York, take $1 and tell them your problem. But remember, there's thousands of Yidden. If everybody's going to have a whole conversation with the Rebbe, he's not going to finish. So you could have a couple of seconds, half a minute. Try to make all what you want to say, concentrate what you want to say, and have in your mind what you want to say, and make sure that there's a guy who will schlep you away. His name is Rabbi Groner. Don't be afraid. He will schlep you, and you say what you need to say, and maybe that will help you. So that guy says, okay, I'm doing it, but you come with me. I'm not going alone. You come with me. Okay? Mit der Frau von Ayid von Agoy, he went with him along. He went to New York, and the whole way he was on the line, he saw that guy. The Shlich tells me, I saw that guy was concentrating in his life, in his world. And he was looking, he wasn't there. And I was hoping and begging Hashem, do me a favor. He shouldn't, a lot of times when anybody who was already by the Rebbe, when they wanted to say something, you basically, you lost your words. You got stonewalled, basically nothing. And then a minute later, you were out of the door. And he was begging Hashem, please, you shouldn't happen to this boy, because that's his time. He can only ask once. And he comes to the Rebbe. Now it's his turn. The Rebbe gives him $1. And I'm waiting he should say something. Nothing. He's numb. Doesn't say anything. And I know, okay, it's over. But it happens a very interesting thing. Usually, the Rebbe gives you the $1, leaves alone the $1, and you take it and you go. Over here, the Rebbe gives him the $1 and doesn't even go. So you cannot schlep it out of the Rebbe's hand. It's not the Recheret. So he got extra seconds. In the meantime, he got to himself and he said, Rebbe, I have a problem. And the Rebbe says, huh? And he says again, Rebbe, I have a problem. And the Rebbe says, huh? That means like to say, go on, what's your problem? And he says, what's my problem? I'm scared of the Torah, I'm scared of the mitzvahs, I'm getting closer to closer. And I have a shiksa in my life, and I don't know what to do. The Rebbe turns around to him, looks him in the eyes, and answers him the most unexpected answer. The Rebbe says like this, Ich ben dich mekana. I envy you. When Hashem gives for a person a nesoyan, He gives him a nesoyan which he could overcome. He does not give a person a nesoyan which he cannot overcome. He gives it to a person which he trusts that he could overcome and grow from this nesoyan. Mich hat der Eibishter nicht getrost mit dieser nesoyan. Me, Hashem never entrusted with just a nesoyan. You, Hashem entrusted with just a nesoyan because Hashem believes in you. And that's why He gave you such an obstacle that you should be able to grow so immensely. And a nesoyan is not an obstacle, it is an opportunity. And the Rebbe gave him the $1 and he was the other side of the door. That boy went down in 770, and if anybody was in 770, in the bottom there's like a small corridor. He was there and he burst out crying like a baby. The Shlich told me, I didn't want to go to him because I saw that he's very emotional. I let him 15-20 minutes, he should cry. He was crying like a baby. After 20 minutes I decided we have to go, we have to get back to Brussels. So I tapped him on his back. We have to go. He's not here. He's not here. He's crying. 2-3 times I'm knocking him on his nothing. After the third time, he's like, he came back from where he was and he says, Finito! He was in his mind already in Italy, and he was in his mind saying for this girl, it's over. He says to the shliach, you go back, you go home. I'm not going back to Brussels. I'm giving up my job. I'm going to Eretz Yisrael. I'm going to yeshiva because I know this girl will run after me. And when she's going to come to you, tell him you don't know where I am, and finish, and I will be over with him. And that was the end of the story. He went to Tomchet Yemim in Chabad, and today's day he's a Chassidish young man with Chassidish children, beautiful children. What was this message what the Rebbe said? The Rebbe did not say Gehenna, they're going to fry you, it's going to be like a microwave. That's not the message. You have an obstacle which will make you grow immensely. Use it. Grab the opportunity. And he grabbed that opportunity. And when we take this kind of message in our lives, and we see what it means, when we explain this for our children, it's a totally different ball game. It's a totally different Torah mitzvahs, and a soin has a different, we don't ask on a soinas. But when we have an soin, you know how to utilize it. You know how to take advantages out of it. That's the oir v'chayas of Chassidus, which changed the perspective. And the same goes with davening. Once upon a time, what was davening? Bakushas tzeruchav. I need something to, I have a problem, I have to daven. But if everything is good, nothing's bad, why should I daven? I know it's a mitzvah, it's like all other mitzvahs, but davening doesn't mean too much. And if I had a problem, I need a refuah, so I will have kavanah by Ruch Ve'eni. By Baruch Aleini, I don't need. Or if I need panos, then will be Baruch Aleini. But Chassidus changed the whole concept of tefillah. What's tefillah? Tefillah is the connection which a person gets to Hashem. Tefillah is melush na teufel kli. You get connected. Naftili lekim niftalti, 2 weeks ago. Naftuli. You get connected by davening. You get connected to Hashem in a way which is not shaykh. And that's why Chassidim put so much emphasis and hachon on the tefillah to have his boinenness, how big Hashem is, how wonderful Hashem is, and how low we are, and how we could give and get connected to such an almighty God. Then when we think this kind of tefillah, it's a different tefillah. Tefillah has a geschmack. You don't have your cell open then. Then you close your cell, you have kavanah, you don't need to have, the minyan should be 45 minutes, and if it's 47 minutes, you give a whole psak for the Baal Tefillah, it's 2 minutes late. You have a geschmack in davening. If you explain this to the children, it's a different davening. And the same goes to tefillah, Torah. Torah. What we learn Torah? We need to know halacha. Of course, we need to know halacha. So do I need to know zvochem in Menochas? I don't need to know zvochem in Menochas. There's no Beis HaMikdash. And even Choshe Mishpat, I'll ask her off, Adayin. And if you have some questions in Hilchas Yisrael, there's a lot of Dayanim. So why do I need to learn Torah? What's the mitzvah of learning Torah? I'm not going to be a rabbi, I'm not going to be a dayan, I'm going to be a shoichet. So why? And that's why a lot of children today's day don't want to learn. Why should I learn? I'm not going to be old, I'm going to be a nice, ehrliche businessman. But when you learn Torah, you learn what Chassidus brings, what Torah is. That Torah is a thing which you get connected to Hashem. You get one part and parcel of Hashem. Hashem takes you around learning Torah. When you explain this thing for a boy, or for a child, or for a bocher, he wants to learn Torah. You get connected to Hashem. And I want to finish with a story which I heard this Motzei Shabbos from Rabbi Tversky, a big mechanach, and he told me a story which blew my mind, which exactly what we're speaking now. He said there's a boy, a Williamsburg boy, which Rahman al-Islam fried out. And we all know today's day, Chabad, since they are all over, even on the moon, so even in Williamsburg there's a Chabad house. In North 5th there's a Chabad house. That boy was so rotten that his parents, his family threw him out from the house. What such a guy do? He's all over. But he used to come every Shabbos to the Chabad house because he loved Cholent. He loved Cholent. You know the Cholent Bobby? He used to go to the Chabad house to eat Cholent. One day the Chabad Shlich tells him, Bocherl, maybe come learn with me a little bit, Tanya. He says, why dry me a cup, I don't believe. So why should I learn these things which I don't believe? He says, don't be a big macher. Come learn with me. And when you finish the Peirik, then I want to hear you say I don't believe. Okay, a challenge. Sits down, learns this week, learn Peirik Aleph of Tanya, finishes the Sefer, says, I don't believe in it. Okay. Next week he's again here. Perik Bais. He ate his cholent. Yeah, that was full plate. And we finished. We have to go learn Tanya. Okay. Learn Perik Bais in Tanya. Finishes the Perik. Finishes, he says, I don't believe anything what says over here. I don't believe. Okay? That shlich, you know, all about it, you can't get rid of him. Next week again. Once you play the cholent, we have a deal. We have to learn Perik Gimel and Tanya. Okay? Learn Perik Gimel and Tanya. Finish the Perik. I don't believe a word what says here. No problem. Next week again. Fourth week again. We learn Perik Dalet and Tanya. In the middle of learning Perik Dalet and Tanya, this boy bursts out crying. Weeping. And that shlich tells me, I don't know what's going on. He tells, I have no idea what's going on. What happened now? Middle of Perik Dalet and Tanya? What happened? And it tells for the Bocher, do me a favor, explain me. We learned in Perik Aleph Weiss and Tanya what's on the Shema Vayit. If anybody learned Tanya at the beginning, we know what it means. On the Shema. And you say, I don't believe, you close the Sefer. What happened? We learned Perik Dalet. Perik Dalet, the Alter Rebbe talks about when a person learns Torah, he gets connected to Hashem. Hashem hugs him. Because you take in the Torah, you get connected in such a way that nothing, no mitzvah can connect you like Torah. Because your mind gets connected to the Chochmah of Hashem's Baruch. So automatically you get mamash part and parcel of the Reibishter. So you learned about the Neshama, nothing budged you. You learn about Torah, what happened? He says, I'm going to tell you what. When I was a child, I was in yeshiva, I was a bocher, I was sitting learning, and it wasn't too geschmack the Gemara. We learned Bavakama, Shosh Rugich Sapura. And the Magachir and the Malama says, hey, where are we? I don't see you, you're not on the same page as we are. Where do you hold? I want you, your thing should be over here, right over here. And he was screaming at me, and was insulting me. And I says, Rebbe, he said from the Malama, Shosh Rugich Sapura. I'm not a farmer. I'm not going to have a shore. I'm not going to have a cow. I'm not going to have an ox. What do you want from me? Why do I need to know all those things? I don't plan to have a cow. What do you want from me? Why do I need to know Shoshnuk Chazapura? I will never have a pura. I have a chamor. I want to have a field. I want to be a businessman, a high-tech. What do you want? Why do I need to know all this stuff? And the Rebbe says, don't ask questions. Look in. If he would have told me then that when you learn Torah, you get connected to Hashem, it makes no difference if if I'm going to have a cow, or if I'm going to have an axe, or if I'm going to have a chamor. It's no difference. It's the Bar Hashem. If you would have told me then what it is, I would have listened. I would have learned. You get connected to Hashem. Why didn't he need to tell me this? And that's why he burst out by Perik Dalet, because he realized if only the Malamed would have explained him how Chassidus explains Torah, Limud Torah, that would have made the change. It wouldn't look like this. So basically, what we come out from this whole thing is that the Hashem brought a gewaldige light, oil, and the Alter Rebbe brought it down and made it chayas, that our nation Bahami should understand it. And they changed the whole perspective in Torah mitzvahs on everything. We could stay here for hours and go through everything and see how Chassidus changed the whole outlook, the whole perspective of Torah mitzvahs. And when you learn this and you delve into it, you don't need that. You have no problems with your children of chinuch. You have no problems with the internet, and they are secured with themselves. They are secured with themselves. If you're mechanech this way, we wouldn't have this problem which we have today, because we could show the children the beauty of Torah, the nice kind of Torah, the shine, the neshama, the chayes of Torah, the chayes of mitzvahs, and how we get connected to Hashem. We would have solved all the problems. The problem is we don't learn. We don't do it enough. And this you have to learn. It's not easy. You have to learn and think about it and delve into it. Because not everybody which is called a chosed, or not everybody which is called a Chabadnik or a Lubavitcher, isn't this, just the label is a label. I'm talking like sitting, learning Chassidus, and thinking about it, and bringing it down into your lives. It will change the perspective of Torah mitzvahs. You're going to run after every mitzvah, and your wife will have to stay in the kiosk, and you will have to be all day in the Spanish saying, oh my. So the Rabbi should helfen that basically we should utilize this holy day of Yud Tes Kislev, which is Or V'Chayes, Nafshayne Nitel Nonu, which gives us light, which gives us Chayes, gives us a new perspective in Torah mitzvahs. And I'm telling you, Tami Irike Toiv Hashem. Learn, and you're going to see Hashem is sweet. The Torah is sweet. Mitzvahs is sweet. It's so beautiful. And the Rabbi should help that all the revelation, all the Gelim, which we are doing now, by having Torah mitzvahs, we should have it revealed, Begili, when Mashiach will come,